What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's the very last Manic Monday of the regular season MLB. Call to the Pen, HQ. Fastest show on MLB absolutely anywhere. Man, my apologies. Leave it to me to make it the entire season. Didn't miss a single day. You know it. Boogers and all. And today, I was early. I was ready. It's funny. If people kind of saw some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, you'd really get such a kick out of it. Right? I mean, I come across as very organized and professional, and I intend that. Like, I forgot to plug in the Ethernet, tripped over a wire, pulled a light out of the wall. Sparks going off. And that's why I was 3 minutes late, everybody. Welcome back, man. Oh, man, this show means the absolute world to me. Thank you all. Rich Clark, Brian E., welcome aboard. Super short slate today. Rich says need an extra 5 minutes. I mean, God, I'm really going off the rails if we need an extra 5 today. Not much going on. OPMG, good morning. Hope you had a great weekend. I mean, I had such a good weekend. I just smashed football. I'm counting my thousands right now. Smashed these ladder plays. Follow me on Twitter at John Laghezza. Follow the show handle at Call to the Pen HQ. Mr. Coop on the ones and twos. Best producer in the game. You know he's going to get back at you. One thing, our stuff reeks of effort, and hopefully it reeks of passion, because that really is the truth. You know we care. And that's why we bring you this, baby. All the nuance and the context you could possibly stomach, I hope. It almost feels impossible that if you follow the entire year that you're not better at sports betting. I hate, like, regardless of the PL, it's hard to imagine that you wouldn't be a better sports bettor, having learned some of the process and methodology and stuff to go over. Okay, there's really not much to do today. BGC, good morning. Going out strong, of course. Me ripping electric sockets out of the wall. Yeah. Just 4 games today, and it was only 3. Yankees and Diamondbacks first up. We'll get to it in a second. It's the afternoon game. I guess we'll get to it at the end. I don't even know. Does anybody care anymore? The MLB scheduler is having some more fun with us, Jay, on the way out the door. You'd think, like, it's pennant race time. It's like the heat is on. And you'd think that it would just be a little more balanced. Like, how does... I don't even get it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Still playing fantasy baseball. I see a lot of the scheduling, and I just don't get it. There's some makeups and mix-ups and stuff, but I don't get how today there's 3 games on the slate, like I said, plus my Yankees. So let's keep the commuter crowd in mind, right? We haven't done them wrong yet. Let's not. Jay, I just out of my eye. I'm kind of getting a good laugh because all the lighting stuff, is it possible by accident I made it like all better? It's not flickering. We got no shadows and stuff. This looks like professional, man. What happened? It's so funny if this is the answer. Again, sometimes less is more, people. Last quick lesson before we dive into the games, because this will tie everything in. Man, less is more really is a great lesson to leave everyone with when you're handicapping baseball in particular, sports in general, I guess. We love our numbers, we love our stats and stuff, and we should. It's a benchmark, the base of our analysis, and, that's where it comes from. Brian Rose, good morning, friend. We're talking about less is more, Brian. And I could speak very specifically to this. What we used to be in trading, and then when I brought over to sports betting, you pile up indicators, and you want to feel like that increases your odds. Now, which in theory, right, it might. But I think sports bettors push that number too far. And I've always gotten pushback from the majority of the crowd, because I feel like most games are 50-50. Like, I feel like almost every professional game is 50-50 when it starts. The second it starts, you realize, wait a minute. Oh, wait, that pitcher looks sharp. Wait a minute. The Cowboys are losing to the Cardinals. This can't be. And think about that. That's football. Football, these lines got hung. Jay, if you remember it, you could put a hang in the chat. It had to be like a minus 600. Not to get into football, but there is a pretty great disparity between money lines in different sports, right? And that's where I want to get to. How many indicators do you think those Cowboy people had? To validate paying minus 750 for something. And again, it happens in baseball. And baseball generally tops out like, what do you want to say? Maybe minus 325? When the Yankees were good with Cole on the bump, 325. Verlander, Cy Young for Houston, right? Remember this? Maybe minus 350 against a bad opponent. Just give you an idea of, these teams lose or they fail constantly. They're not really going to fail sometimes. They fail all the time. It fails all the time. So to tie it all in with my model work, I really learned, though, again, there are quite a few inputs in it. It took me a long time to figure out which ones matter and how to weigh them. Because I just flat out used to have too many of them, right? That's the key. The key is the weighting and not really the quantity. Around quantity over quality over quantity. Last feather. Let's get into the games, everybody. Hopefully, take that with you. Remember, I know we all want to, and the split, and the home, and this, and the fastball, and all these million things. Yes, they're all going to kind of put you in a direction. But that's why, if you notice, I kind of bet, I have a set grade. I don't feel like, and I don't think that you can't have a 1U or a 2U. I don't want to see that, because if you have a certain strength, that's okay. Although then I'd argue, why wouldn't you just only focus on the ones you're more sure of? You know what I'm saying? Whatever. That's when you get into the trouble policing your own probability on something happening. Again, in reality, I think most things are 50-50. And a lot of times my analysis gets me there. I'm like, okay, it's good enough. And that's why I rely on price. And I like plus money odds, because if I can get my analysis to 50-50, now you're putting yourself in a probabilistic advantage. All right, boom. Wow. Who thought we were taking the day off? Not me, of course. All right, again, commuter crowd of mine. Let's start with the nighttime stuff. This is the only bet I have on the night. I was going to tuck tail and run because I'm not hiding it at all. I've had a pretty miserable September. Gosh, I think I cut my units, my subs almost in half. And, it's part of the run, right? You come out, it is what it is. But one thing we do control, again, like I said, risk management is I don't want to get smoked on the way out the door. And there is such a thing as taking your chips off the table. So I've turned down the volume. And, of course, I mentioned how that gets me in trouble. And that's exactly what happened. The second I went, I'm going to put 2 or 3 plays. You 1 out of 3, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 3, and just click, 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 down, down, down. Then I had an 0 for 3, and you're like, oh my God, bad break. And then things happen. You know what I'm saying? Volume builds character, as our good friend Matt would say. So it's the White Wolf of Winterfell. John Gray on the bump for the Texas Rangers. Minus 180 dog. Texas trying to close out strong. Wonder if they're watching Call to the Pen. On the bump. Patrick Sandoval for the Halos. Plus 160. The Angels. This is one of the great. I feel bad because I don't want to pile them. This is one of the great stories of failure that we've seen. Quite literally, right, the best baseball player on earth. Then quite literally another argument for a top 3 hitter on the planet in Mike Trout on a per plate appearance basis. For years, they get Ugazza. They're finally looking strong, in contention. They shove all in, and set themselves back another 5 years. They're not going to keep Ohtani. They're probably going to lose Trout, and they're just awful. It is so bad for LA. Again, a lot of it centers around how you build that pitching staff. Let's take a look at Gray first. He slipped into really kind of just a guy territory. Gray, I want to get up the game log and see just where this kind of went wrong. Because I was always into Gray's a better than average pitcher, 4.2 ERA, 1.31 WHIP, 7.22 OPS. All the indicators now at 4.5 or worse, right? 4.5 expected ERA, 4.5 Sierra. So you got to start believing that. 21 Ks too low, 8.5 walk on is a smidge too high with the low CSW, right? We've been trying to incorporate CSW into our understandings of strikeouts, so you know if a pitcher can land cold strikes. Generally, high cold strikes, low K is off-speed stuff. Gray getting ahead of everybody, 67 first strike, but he's missing too much with too much contact. He's kept the ball on the ground, but it hasn't been enough. Gray's kind of just had his struggles. Lefties have beat him up all year. Righties hitting for average. He's been okay on the road. Maybe that's the saving grace. I've got the last 30 numbers just through the roof. It's been a brutal go. Let's look at last 6 starts for Gray. At Arizona, gave up 5 through 4, 3 through 6 to the Mets, 3 through 5, Minnesota, 3 through 2 1/3 at Oakland, 3 through 3 2/3 at Cleveland, and then Boston 2 1/3, 2 homers and 4 earned. He's Gray falling apart. We mentioned that. MLB Dream, what's going on, my dude? We were just mentioning the restaurant where the chef's eating again. This means so much to me to have truly impactful people in the space. MLB Dream and Maddie's in here, Frankie's in here. NBA props rolls through, player props avant, monotone football. I'm getting like a 500,000 Twitter followers worth of accounts that kind of come through and just check the temperature. So Dream, appreciate you, man. Yours is one of the better episodes this entire year, hashing up what you, dude. Like heaven forbid you and I were ever in a bar watching games. God, I have to peel us out of there at 4 a.m. So one of the things we've been mentioning as we tracking it is sometimes pitchers just run out of gas. It's so hard. And I think that's probably it for Gray. So things have really spun out of control. He has an 8 ERA last 40 days, been a really rough go. Sandoval also kind of stinks. I don't know. 4.2 ERA with the 1.5 whip. His expected stats is all at like 5 or worse. I mean, a 9K minus BB. There was a point I kind of like this guy. 37 ball, 59 first strike. So he's not getting ahead and not putting the ball in the strike zone. 32 chase and not inducing chases. I mean, it's just pretty much the worst combination that you can get. And he's been just awful at home. 275 batting average allowed by Sandoval. I just think he's going to get absolutely smoked. I bet on Texas. I guess it's the offense. I'm going to need him to carry us. I can't take it back now. I did bet the run line, but Jay, maybe I should have went with the over on this one. And I'm not beyond it. I was kind of crunching, and I must have missed the Gray stuff. I mean, again, my model is mostly built on indicators and discipline, ground ball stuff, trying to see through earned run average, right, which is more of the mirage. I bet the minus 115 run line. I don't want to, I don't want to front. But like, I don't have LA scoring. So let's stick with it. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, Jay. Let's take the run line. I mean, the big difference here is the Texas offense. I got all their pieces back. Yeah, I know. You ain't kidding, Dream. The stuff of Gray's been rough. Sandoval blows, though. Dream asking how far he's going to go. I mean, can they really afford to pull him, though? That's kind of, I don't know if they can afford to pull Sandoval. The Angels, again, part of that kind of historic kind of tank job we've seen. I mean, Sandoval just gave up 5 to Oakland and 4 to Baltimore. He was decent against Tampa and Seattle. I think was selling the rip. So I think Sandoval's in for the full complement. He's thrown at least 100 pitches in 4 of his last 6. And one of the other 2 was 92. So it's got to be Sandoval all the way because of what you mentioned in Dream. The LA bullpen is absurdly bad right now. And again, that's where I have Texas kind of pulling this one out in the run line. It's making me a little worried. Okay, the reason Dream, again, you come here and the comment section's like pumping with Pleasant stuff. His out to set at 17.5, and it's tough to get to 6. That is a rough one. But I just feel like they're going to run him out. I just feel like they'll let him eat 7. And isn't that, God, it's just such an interesting conversation. Well, we have a ton of time today. So Dream and I kind of working through how you get to these things. And sometimes it's not always a matter of, do you think we'll get to 6? Because there are so many extenuating circumstances, right? Exterior factors that kind of weigh in. And that would be one of them. Like, as much as I would absolutely love to go under, the outprop for Sandoval saying he doesn't finish 6, I'm legit, like, deathly worried they let him eat 8 runs. And we've seen that before. And me hanging out with some of the pitcher prop guys now, watching sweat out props, and sometimes that's what happens. So I'm a little rough on it, though, like, man, how are you going to get 6 innings from this guy? He has not gone 6 innings since a start against the Mets in late August. Then before that, it was once more early August. Then you go all the way back to like the All-Star break. MLB Dream, Ultimate Texas team total. That probably would have been the smarter play than the run line. Again, I'm not saying I rushed to it. I was looking at it, and I like I said, we could easily get this. I've got the algo as it's like absurd. Again, Texas offense has him by an absolute mile. 83 runs scored, last 500 plate appearances, 23 ding-dongs, 834 team OPS, but 12% walk, 45 pull. You get the 355 WOBA, 125 WRC plus. The WOBA versus lefty's not great, but the expected WOBA is very good. And I'm always kind of looking at that. LA offense has been just an abject disaster and a disgrace. And again, this is why the model has us clearing it. But again, if you are just jumping on now, I would side with our dude Dream, and I'd probably go team total. Jay, bring up the team total. It's not like 6, is it? If it's 5 or 5.5, I'm gonna kick myself. If it's 5, I'm gonna kick myself. If it's 5.5, I'll meet you in the middle, Dream. All right, it's 5.5. I meet you in the middle. Although it looks like you might find the 5. That particular book sometimes is not always all the way up to date. So hopefully Texas wins this one 6-2, and everyone's a winner. Deal with blackjack. LA offense absolutely terrible. 219 batting average, a 274 OBP, a 33.3% K rate to 5% walk. You heard that right. As a team, there is an offense in this world, the year of our Lord 2023, with a 28% K minus BB on the offensive side, 15% swing and strike, and a below 80% zone contact rate. This is absurd. It's unbelievable. BGC asking how deep we want to go with correlated plays. My man, I'll let you go as far as you want. Where I draw the line, though, right? And this plays into the methodology I was talking to is I have to have a daily allotted risk that I never go over. And then within that, I like to have some kind of structure. Now, let's say you have a single play for a day. Then your allotted risk is 100% on one game. So if you were to split that, then it's fine. You correlate your nuts off, man. Go absolutely buck wild. Where I disagree with some procedure, again, I'm not right, they're not wrong, it's just different. People that go harder on a single game than they should in relation to daily allotment. There's a feather in your cap again, becoming a better. Okay, right? This is the stuff that matters. This is what keeps you in the arena, regardless of the scars and the black eyes that I, admittedly have. But that's the truth, right? So, meaning people just get themselves in trouble doing that. Like if you bet 3 units, some people will find they have 4.5 on a single game because they have or 90, in a split ticket, too much of it is on one place. So it's just really all about weighing it. Don't sell yourself out on it. And again, if I get time, I may look at some of these strikeout props because Monday's slow for me for NFL. I can't do any data work until the games are done. Then in that case, you see me, I'll chop up the risk and play. I'll play 5 strikeout props in the same game. You know what I'm saying? Now, in theory, right, they're all correlated. You can't parlay them. But they're all kind of tied together. So, BGC, lots of good questions from you, man. I can tell you've taken some steps forward. Appreciate you. Please, everybody, rate, review, and subscribe if you've ever learned anything on this show, right? Press the like button. If you learned one thing, press one cartoon finger for your one friend, Big Johnny. Okay, so now I'm back with Texas by a mile. I mean, LA is just so disgraceful. They have a 276 expected WOBA versus righties last 30 days. You face so much right-handed pitching in 30 days of an MLB schedule. How could you have a 276 expected WOBA? That's a little. I got to do back of the napkin math. You have 25% worse than the bottom range of average. I mean, just absolutely despicable. That implies 3 runs, let's say 3.25 runs. Just they're so bad. And then you get into the bullpens. Now, Texas does have a 4.8 ERA last 49 innings, but big shaking butt. And again, this is where the algo has a difference. Like the big butt, like the Birdman, Little Wayne, like one of those butts, like the garden hose, soapy water thing. 3.75 Sierra, very good. 24.5 K to only 9 walk for a bullpen, very good. Inducing chases, winning in the zone, keeping the ball on the ground. 3/4 a home run per 9. So, Texas bullpen, the underpinning stuff is not bad. It's been, Leclerc has been good. And he bumped everyone down. Like Smith was starting to struggle. He bumped everyone down, and they've just kind of been a lot better. LA bullpen, an abject disaster right now. 5.7 ERA, but the CRA up near 5. The whip over 1.5. 12.5 walk. 45 fly ball with an 8.5 barrel. I mean, they are just atrocious. They waved everybody. They just waved. They were like, Reynaldo Lopez, Matt Moore. Matt Moore is a really good reliever. It's total malpractice to just wave these guys. It's just whatever. It is what it is. So I guess I'm okay dogpiling on the Angels. Again, I've got Texas modeled up over 5. I've got the Angels modeled at 3.9. And again, I know that's not 2 runs, but like from a modeling, it's 2 runs. That's the wide berth, especially the +5 model, which again we've used to play those daily games, has proven, right? That's whatever the implied team totals algo stuff is strong, and that's what we're looking for. I'm that my model doesn't go to 9, right? So I think that's what I should have loved with. If the model tops at 6, anything over 5, is super strong, right? You're in the top top 15 to 20th percentile, which opens the door to get to those maximum outcomes. So hopefully I convinced you the way I hopefully convinced myself on a bet I'm not really into. Texas is 1.5. Next up, I don't even know how you bet these. Justin Verlander on the bump for the Astros. You got to just watch this one. +110 dog on the road against my dude, Luis Castillo, and the Mariners, -120. I mean, Verlander has been really good. 3.4 ERA, 117 whip. I know people were bitching when he was at the Mets. It was always there. 3.9 expected ERA, 6.5 walk. That's the stuff we're looking for. The strikeout stuff has not been as strong as we want. And again, he does give up a lot of fly balls, which can lead to home runs. But when he's sharp like he's been right now, you see it manifested in a 17% infield fly. And let's do another lesson quickly. Be careful in your handicapping looking at simply fly ball rate. You'll notice, check my sheets. They're all free right now. I'm not selling my work. Got to put infield fly stuff right next to fly balls. You need to know. You absolutely need to know that difference. In fact, it might be a little cool stat, like an easy stat. As I come up with this stuff myself, like a true fly ball rate, right? True fly ball rate. Home runs minus infield flies. So infield flies have a 0 batting, right? They have a 0 batting average. It's not anything to worry about. In fact, it's something to laud. It's something that we want. And a lot of times these things also work in accordance. I remember the first time I got myself in trouble doing this. Again, this is how I admit my mistakes, and this is how I grew. It was the beat Shane Bieber. Right? Oh, he gives up a ton of hard contact, and I was stepping on that rake. He didn't give up a lot of contact. When he did, it was hard. Because he worked the fastball up in the zone, and when he missed down with it, the ball went in the stands. The best example this year is Garrett Cole. Right? Garrett Cole with the sick fastball. This season, elevated it just a touch more. Realizing that when you miss up, it's still deceptive enough to get some swings and misses. If it doesn't, the worst you can take is a ball. When you miss down with the elevated fastball, now remember, so that's a low elevated fastball, instead of being up chin neck is up chest, where some guys are looking. Those again end up in the seats. Now, hopefully, it's only being thrown with empty bases, which again makes a lot of sense. But something just to be wary of, where Verlander, again, you'll hear, so one of the fake handicappers will certainly talk about the Verlander fly ball rate without mentioning the 17% infield fly. And here's another one. Wow, lessons pouring in. I guess this is what we do, right? Verlander is a great example of how to read hard hit rates and understand them, right? So we did one part of it, digesting and understanding elevation, right? One of our bins, our baskets, the templated stuff we're always talking about. So hard hit rates, there are 2 of them. Fangraphs and Savant both are, gold standards and, bedrocks of the industry. But they use different types of accounting for hard hit rates. This is really worth learning. And again, I remember learning this the hard way, getting into trouble citing, I think it was Vlad Guerrero, right? He's on the hitter side, of best example of Fangraphs uses the human element with baseball information solutions. Savant uses a raw 95-mile-an-hour metric. So ground balls for hitters can get punished. Right? That's not a hard hit ball. It was too easy. Right at somebody, it was not a hard hit ball. Trying to imply damage, where again, Savant is an objective measurement. 95.1 is a hard hit ball. 94.9 is not. And that's the flaw in Savant. Also the elevation. So a guy like Vlad Guerrero will have a very high hard hit rate on Savant because he always hits at 95 miles an hour. However, his hard hit rate on Fangraphs will always be low because a lot of them are on the ground and right at fielders. The same thing we'll see for Verlander. Verlander has a 41% hard hit rate on Savant, which is not very good. Oftentimes the ball is hit hard. However, his hard hit rate is 31% on Fangraphs, which is ridiculously good. Ridiculously good. So it gives you an idea, again, of the contextual, underpinnings, let's say, of understanding contact quality. Man, did we sound smart there or what? Verlander has struggled on the road, though. Been a lot better at home. We've talked about that. It's been a thing for him. Not terrible, though. It just compared to the other pitchers today, because there weren't a lot, I guess. 2.46 BA, 3.70 ERA, but a 5.4 xFIP because he's kept the home run so low. He's been pretty good the last 40 days. Wheels up for Verlander. Castillo's been amazing. 3.05 ERA, 1.05 WHIP. I mean, he's just been ridiculously good. I've always been a big Castillo guy. And then again, I covered this in my fantasy stuff, where we noticed he was kind of dumping the changeup for a improved fastball, higher velo, better shape, better location. And Castillo just completely took off. And now he doesn't walk batters either. 6.6 walk rate for Castillo. Remember that when that was an issue? 21 KBB, 15 swinging strike, 80 zone contact, 35 O swing. So he's really been above average everywhere. Again, 42 fly ball, but a 12% infield fly. So he's really mitigating a lot of that. The home run rate is average, but the 292 expected WOBA kind of speaks to the entire body of work. And he's been unhittable at home this year. 178 batting average allowed by Castillo. A 5.68 OPS and a 2.5 ERA. He has a 2.37 ERA last 40 days. He's been downright phenomenal. These offenses are struggling right now. It's interesting, really are. I generally, when I mention I don't really bet these games, I generally don't bet these kind of marquee matchups. Yes, sometimes if I can get a good price on a plus 1.5 runs, because right I cap them as even. I will like to go over on these really low totals. But I do want signals from the offense, and it's been rough. Houston has a 230 team batting average, only 51 runs scored, 315 team OBP, last 500 plate appearances, not any good. The discipline is in place, so we're always kind of expecting more, right? And that's okay. 19K to almost 10 walks, single-digit swing and strike, 87 zone contact as a team. But the pull rate is down. The hard hit rate at 31 and 36, respectively, right? 31 Fangraphs, 36. Savant is very low. 8 barrel, 104 WRC plus. Not great from the Astros. Seattle, also, they were running hot as the sun. And they kind of sputtered out a little bit. 245 team batting average, but a 700 team OPS. The K's are coming back. 24K to only 7 walk, 13.5 swing strike, 81 zone contact. Keep that in mind. Again, the things that we do here that separate us. Why sharp people come here. Why smart people come here to participate. Why we know that there are people that participate in casino line making that are following what we're doing. To see what's going on underneath the hood, right? Because who else is freaking crazy enough to do the shit that we're doing here? Nobody. It doesn't exist anywhere. 15 games every day. What? What? This show is just absurd. It's objectively absurd. Anyway, we've been tracking that Seattle discipline stuff, and that's where the letdown, I think, happens. Like, I wanted the Castillo part of this, but I am worried because of Houston, the expected stuff is all really strong. 353 expected WOBA last 30 versus righties. That's top 3 in the league from the Astros. So this one, is just, I like this from here. I like these from here. It's very hard to kind of make a determination. And then one bullpen just better than the next. Houston bullpen last 41 innings. It's a 3 ERA with a 110 whip, 208 batting average. Seattle last 41 and 2/3. It's a 2.8 ERA with a 1 flat whip. Both have a 7.5 walk. I mean, Seattle really doing a 29.5 hard hit. Both with a 1 homer 9, last 41 innings. I mean, this should be close. This is going to have like all the legit playoff feels. People often ask me about betting on the playoffs, and Jay and I were talking about it. Also, again, I like a lot of run lines because I think these games are very hard to cap. I like a lot of F5 run lines because, again, I think these games are hard to cap. I mean, look at these strikeout props. These under strikeout props that I was digging into the second half. Maybe that's a good way to go. Because the run lines are going to lead you to minus 150s. Woohoo! Oh, minus 212. All right. Where we still might get some love. If I get a second, I might circle back to that. Although I had 30 minutes, we didn't get through nothing here today. But me rambling and ranting and raving. But if you learn something again, rate, review, and subscribe. Stuff matters more than it should. We'll be wrapping this show up, 5 days in regular season, then maybe a month of playoffs or whatever. And then, it'll be me trying to sell this bad boy again, having them hope to bring it back. So if you want to run it back, get up in the comments, tag Rob Pizzola on Twitter. That stuff matters more than it should. So this one's close as can be. Again, hopefully I'm not walking you through. And again, I'd like to think that I'm trying to lay out objective analysis. Is even if I don't have like a determinative play, then maybe I can lead you somewhere. I may have given you information that brought you somewhere to pull a play, right? Because I don't have a bet does not mean that they don't exist. I have my own style, and then hopefully deliver again a kind of analysis that will help you get to where you're going. I got Verlander's it's 100 plus 100, and again the run. This is hilarious. Maybe I saw this, so maybe it was like subconscious, but I did say minus 212 before, and that's what I have on the run line, and it's like, really. Anyway, I don't know. Very hard to look for a full minus, 2-run covers. They're going to juice up these plus ones, and then if you're betting on the line side, be honest with yourself. You're gambling. I mean, we're all gambling. There's no determinative edge in these things. There is none. Stop it. I honestly don't want to hear it. This is, if I think most games are a 50-50, like we mentioned at the open, where is this one? It's literally 50-50. All right, last game. Another one. You got to watch it. Blake Snell pushing for the Cy Young on the bump for the Padres, minus 115 on the road against Logan Spider Webb, plus 105 dog for the Gigantes. Those San Francisco treats. Snell with the 2.3 ERA, 1-2 whip. He has a 1-2 whip. Whoa. 13.5 walk and a 1-2 whip. You figure that out. 581 OPS through 174 innings. He's been phenomenal. 32% K, 15 swing and strike, 31 CSW, 37 whiff, 81 zone contact. He has been so good. Chase rate a little bit lower than we think, but you know what? People see the breaking stuff and they don't bother. But he's been throwing strikes, so Snell's getting by. He looks awesome, 34 hard hit on Savant. I mean, you only hit at 95 miles an hour 34% of the time. It's absurd. .78 homer 9 has been death to lefties, death to righties. And amazing on the road. 182 BA allowed, 213 ERA with a 589 OPS. Just jumping off the page. Logan Webb, though, not the one to mess with. 3.3 ERA, 108 whip, when all the indicators much better than that. 3.2 Sierra, 4% walk, 32 ball rate. Really, really good stuff. 66 first strike. So he's getting a 66 first strike, 62 ground ball. You know where he's going with this. And that, I think, is the hiccup for the Padres. They put the ball on the ground a lot. They don't really pull. They haven't hit it hard. The production has been there. It was bound to regress for them. They do a lot of things right. But let's not confuse them for this team that's mashing right now. They're not. There's right? People often, that's another one that the Fugazis will tell you. Mashing. Jay, I can't believe I killed the Shadows. I'm freaking out how good this came out. Mashing. Scoring runs like a single with 2 men on and 2 outs is not mashing. It's baseball, right? Let's take a quick look at what I mean. 285 batting average, 368 OBP, 858 OPS as a team for the Padres. You're like, whoa! But again, it's based on the discipline. 18K to 10.5 walk, 9.5 swing and strike, right? That's what's getting them there. 39% pull, that's at bottom 8. 32% hard hit, below average. But at 367 WOBA, 137 WRC plus. And again, the Padres right now, one of the big lefty-righty split teams. They are annihilating lefties to a point. I don't even know if I've seen this before. They have a 427 team WOBA versus lefties. I got news for you. Logan Webb is not a lefty. Padres just average 329 WOBA, 314 expected versus righties last 30. Be careful. Looking for, this big cover. Where you could get me going, though, is the pricing. 115 for Snell and the Padres is not bad because the Giant offense has been awful. They're not hitting lefties, 220 team batting average, 12 homers and 6 steals through 500 plate appearances with a 220 average and an 87 WRC plus. Think about that. That's like a demotion, and that's the entire team. So Giants kind of stink. So if you wanted to get me there, that's probably where you got me. Giants also have a 5 ERA in the bullpen, last 57, but it's a 4 Sierra, 8% walk, 29 fly ball. Like, that's not terrible. Half a homer 9, right? The things I generally look for. The Siena bullpen has been very good. So, listen, if you like the Padres at minus 115 because you're getting Snell, I hear you. But that's probably your best. That's probably the best bet there. Padres minus 120. Over under smack at 7. And that's right where I had it. Right. I mentioned one of the bets I like going over on kind of marquee matchups. 7 being one of those numbers. I'm like, man, it's very easy to go over 7. And I think 7.06 on the model, which again, right, it's not saying you don't read it legitimately, but the totals are closer. But like still, man, that's freaking low. That is real low. When it's telling you 7, if a 5 is what reads to the 12, modeling a 3 or 2 3/4 is what models to the 0. So there's a damn good chance Snell blanks him. But Logan Webb is a dog, yo. And again, those Padres are not great against righties. And I think Webb will be, capitalizing on everything they do wrong because he's a pro's pro. But again, the Giant defense is kind of a letdown. The offense not very good, and the Padres been a bit lucky. They deserve it after the terrible run they've had in extra innings. So if you wanted to twist my arm, you can get me to get to the Padres. The game earlier on, it's Merrill Kelly and the Diamondbacks going up against Clark Schmidt, the Clark bar. Holy Schmidt on the bump for the Yankees. I got this one close as could be. I actually have Diamondbacks by a nose. I know Maddie was pumping Yankees through 5. Which I also have. I have Yankees through 5, Arizona to close. The Arizona bullpen's been sick lately. They have a 2 ERA through 46 innings, 1-2 whip, 210 batting average. No losses last 2 weeks. So this one's just a little close to me. I really don't care for this. The Yankees don't really care. They're running out, the youngsters and stuff. They've had their struggles, Pereira and stuff, who I'd like to see get some run. I'm leaving this one. Early game, Yankees are eliminated. Yeah, it's just like not the kind of environment I'm looking for. Plus, I've struggled with day games. I don't like singular day games because if you lose, I like carry the stench with me unless I really love it. So I'm leaving that one alone. And then that's it, baby. That's it. Last Monday of the regular season. Appreciate you, Jay. Sorry about the read. I forgot. We'll get him tomorrow, brother. From G Bird and Johnny. That'll do it, man. We really do appreciate you. Hopefully you learned something today. These short games are a great opportunity for us to maybe stop and not smell the roses so much as like stop and assess a little bit, right? Do a little self-auditing. What are we doing? What are we doing that works? What should we be looking forward to? What have we done incorrectly and everything like that. So hopefully you learned something. Rate, review, and subscribe. Hit the notifications. That stuff just matters for some reason. And we appreciate you, man. Let's close it out strong. Of course, any questions, you hit up Call to the Pen HQ on Twitter. Hit me up on Twitter at John Laghezza. And you can check out links to all my work. The baseball stuff is free. The football stuff is cheap. I'm making money like crazy right now. Oh my gosh. I can't last more hotter than the sun, maybe. And I guess that's it from everybody. The entire Phalanx, Dream, and all the chefs eating at our restaurant means the absolute world to us. Thanks for picking up what we're putting down. Hopefully Texas gets it done and scores more than 6 while they do it. And Gray doesn't get rocked for 5 in the first, and I look stunned. So enjoy the game. There's so few of them. Enjoy the day. And when you're done with the book, hopefully enjoy some pay. And remember, when you work this hard, doesn't it feel a lot less like luck? I'd say so. Peace out, you.